The San Antonio Spurs defeated the Houston Rockets 121 to 110 last night. In this game, Victor Wembanyama, he had a good game of 22 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 block. Only thing negative about this game for him was the 4 turnovers, but overall, I would say it was a pretty good game. I won't say great game because a great game by Victor is like getting 30 some points, getting over 10 rebounds, and having like 6 blocks. So it wasn't a great game, but it was promising because he's been subpar the previous 2 games prior to this game. He was definitely very subpar, not performing at a high level. And it was concerning because prior to this game, teams have been double teaming him ever since his hot start. I think the league has conceded now that you cannot guard Victor one on one. So you need to start trapping him with aggressive double teams. You also need to start playing him very physical, being super aggressive. And to be fair, it has worked at least those prior 2 games up until the Rockets game that Victor was taken out of it. He was flustered. He admitted that the defenses were getting to him and they were too fast, and he had to figure out ways to adjust to it. So you had to be respectful in that regard, that if you're the opposing team and you're playing Victor, why not be physical with him? Why not double to him? If that can contain him, stop him, then you got to go that route. And teams are going to continue to do it. It sucks being a Spurs fan, I would say, in that regard, but that's just something you have to accept because if you're on the other side, you'd be doing it too. So it's really up to Victor to adapt to this type of defense and overcome it. If he's truly a great player, he's gonna have to figure it out because other great players have figured it out in the past who have commanded double teams and triples on a nightly basis, such as Michael Jordan, Shaq, Tim Duncan, LeBron James, and the list goes on. Like, those guys figured it out early in their career how to still be dominant against double teams. The biggest challenge I feel for all those guys was also how to elevate their teammates despite being able to score on double and triple teams consistently. So Victor is only at, like, I think level 2 in his development of becoming a great player. He's now figured out how to dominate with single coverage, but now he has to figure out how to dominate with double and triple teams and physical defense. That's like the next level. And I feel after that level, it's going to be how to make his teammates better, how to elevate them. So he's like on level 2 of the process. That's the way I look at it. And hopefully he can get past level 2. Yeah, so we can see him really, really be an MVP caliber player. But there were some promising things I would say from last night's game was that he started off really slow. He only had like 4 points, I believe, at halftime. And usually in the past, whenever Victor plays poorly in the first half, he doesn't bounce back. He just finishes the game with a mediocre stat line. But in this game, he still continued to compete hard on the offensive end, seeing if there are any ways he could adjust. One thing I like what he was doing was he was being patient, looking for the open teammate and moving the ball around, passing it around quite a few times until a guy got an open three-pointer or a layup or a dunk. And by doing that, it started to free him from like the aggressive defenses because the defense started honing in on his teammates. And that eventually allowed him to get easy baskets with just isolated single coverage where it was a one-on-one isolation where he can get a mid-range shot or he can get a dunk or a layup simply because they were starting to focus on his teammates because they didn't want them to be open. And I thought that was very smart, strategic. That's something Tim Duncan used to do at times throughout his career when facing aggressive defenses. He would just take his time to feel them out and get the other teammates involved, and eventually that would break the defense and he would start taking over and picking his spots in the game, which Victor did do in this game. So credit to him for figuring that out and being patient and not giving up when he was flustered early on. Now, the concerning things I would say about this game is that when Victor gets bodied up, it's like he doesn't know what to do. The only thing he can do is he can take a dribble, take a difficult pull-up shot or ugly fadeaway shot, but he doesn't really have like the strength to overcome it. Like, I know people hyped up him getting stronger during the offseason, and to be fair, he did get a little bit stronger now that when he tries to hole and gets bumped, he can finish, where in the past he couldn't really finish. So he's gotten a little bit stronger, but he's still not strong enough where he can just easily back down guys in the post and just muscle them, backing them down and scoring easily at will. That was something that made Tim Duncan great. And I've argued for years why Duncan was better than Garnett, because Duncan was built like a tree. Like, in the sense that if he was struggling, he could just get to the baseline area of the court, signal for a post up on the baseline, get the ball, just back down his defender easily underneath the basket and score at will on them without struggling. Victor just does not have that ability. So he cannot post up, and teams know that. So they really press him on the top of the key area. I've noticed whether it's behind the 3-point line or the top of the key in the mid-range area, they start pressing him aggressively, and he's stuck then. He can't really move past them. He'll either get stripped or take an ugly shot, and that's pretty much the end of it. That happened quite a few times last night. I really hate his ugly fadeaway shot he has. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's so hideous. Like when he drives past the opponent and goes for that ugly baseline fadeaway, it works sometimes it doesn't. I would say the fadeaway move is not one of the easiest moves in basketball. Granted, that was one of my favorite moves growing up when I played basketball. I was able to develop it, but I would say guys with great fadeaways, I'll give a list, at least I've seen in my lifetime: Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Dirk Nowitzki, LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus Aldridge probably will shock some of you guys, but I always felt Aldridge had a great fadeaway shot that was consistently good. I would say out of all those guys, Michael Jordan had the best fadeaway, second by Hakeem Olajuwon. Heck, even in this era, I'm going to put Kawhi Leonard on that list. His baseline fadeaway shot is amazing. It's definitely up there with, I think, Hakeem and Jordan's in the sense. But yeah, you had to really perfect it. And Victor's fadeaway is just hideous. Like, I hate that shot. Like, it's not a good looking shot. I hope Victor can develop a go-to move, but I don't know how Victor overcomes guys roughing him up when they crowd him in the top of the key area, or when, he's in front of the 3-point line. It's like when they start bumping him, it's like he's like frozen. He can't do anything. And when he tries to drive by them, it just doesn't work out because he'll get stripped, by aggressive double team and the help defender coming. So the only way to overcome this, I feel, is continue to pass the ball, move it around, keep trying to run around different screens, different areas of the court, go for some cutters and whatnot. So those are things he can get better at doing it to overcome it. Obviously, I think what's going to help a lot when it comes to dealing with double teams is just getting De'Aaron Fox back. That's going to open a lot because it's going to be hard to double and triple team him with a career like De'Aaron Fox, being able to drive in the paint at will and either, get an easy layup or a dunk or penetrate or be able to set up a play. That's one thing I think that's also been exposed now with Dylan Harper's injury, that when Victor does not have elite playmaking, it really affects his game. He cannot get easy buckets. So I think that unfortunately has been exposed, but hopefully when both those guys are healthy, Victor will easily dominate again. But, if they're ever in foul trouble, if they're injured, that's when Victor's going to feel a world of pain. So it's one of those things that can be exploited when Victor doesn't have playmakers. You can double and triple team him very easily, and you can contain him. So that's a big flaw in his game that he has to find ways to overcome. It might not happen that often again now with De'Aaron Fox coming back, but teams still might go to it, say, hey, let's continue to test him. And that happens. Like I said, he just has to adjust and figure out ways to get smarter dealing with it, since he's not going to be able to beat the double and triples with a power type of game like Shaq or Duncan was able to do in their careers. He just does not have that strength. He's not built like that. I wish he was, but he isn't. So that's all I have to say about this.